And welcome everybody to part 2. We are descending from our cruising altitude, 44,000 feet. We are at flight level 250 right now, 25,000 feet. We're 70 miles out. Normally at 70 miles out, we'd want to be at 21,000 feet, but because the airport's at 3,900 feet, we're adding that into our descent computations. And that's why we're at 25,000 feet instead of 21,000 feet. Been an uneventful flight, although the air was a little rough over the mountains of northern Mexico. Had to slow the airplane down a little bit just because we were, the wind shifted slightly and gave us a bit of a tailwind. It picked up our speed a little, and we needed to make up for that by descending a little more steeply. Descending at 2,200 feet per minute right now. 64 miles from the airport. Giving us about 18 minutes from our destination. Reminder, we are doing the RNAV approach to RNAV X-ray runway 4. Runway length is 12,000 feet. Airport elevation, as I mentioned, is 3,962 feet. Approach course 042 to runway 04. Minimums are 4320, which I've already entered in, as you recall from part 1, 4320. Little concerned about the winds just because live wind information is showing winds out of the west-southwest. As I mentioned, the sim showed winds out of the northeast. So there's a possibility we could have a tailwind. The prevailing winds here aloft are from the southwest at 24 knots. So that remains a source of unending frustration for me that we can't seem to get reliable weather information. And by that I mean as it relates to winds. Even in the sim, I understand that the wind information in the sim might be different than real life, but what's happening is that the wind information on the setup page is different from real life. So that's an interesting anomaly. By the way, you may notice in the background, I don't know if you can hear it, it's Clair de Lune by Debussy. My daughter is practicing piano. It's a lovely piece. If you haven't heard it, I suggest you check it out. Challenging, but beautiful nonetheless. And she's getting pretty good at it. 53 miles out. Remember, at 50 miles out, we'd want to be at 15,000 feet. But we got to add plus 4,000 because of the airport elevation. So we're 52 miles out and 18,100 feet. So that means we can shallow out our descent rate a bit to 1,800 feet per minute. Start slowing a little, but we don't need to slow too much. We're already doing 250 knots, which is, you know, the speed limit below 10,000. So we'll set it at 245 just for good measure. As I expected, there's a tiny bit of sun. You probably can't even see it on the video. Not a tiny bit of sun, but a tiny bit of sunlight there in the distant west. So this is going to be a nighttime landing. You can maybe make out El Paso there in the distance. 47 miles out, 16,600 feet. At 40 miles, we'd want to be at 12,000 feet, but with the altitude correction, 16 or 15,900 feet. We're at 16.2 right now, so we can shallow out even more, descend at 1,600 feet per minute. These RNAV approaches are always interesting. By way of illustration, if you notice here on the PFD, the glide path, not glide slope. Glide slope is for ILS approaches. Glide path is for RNAV approaches. This magenta diamond is down below the second dot here, and thus would suggest that we're far too high. We're not far too high. In fact, we're where we should be. So yeah, I've noticed you can't trust the RNAV information until you get closer to final approach. Turn off our bank limiter. Continue slowing now that we're 15,000 feet. We'll also sync our... I haven't gotten any information from Betty in terms of nearest altimeter, but we're below 18,000, so it's 3002, so that's fine. Not dramatically different from our standard altimeter of 29092. 39 miles out, 14,300 feet. Shallow outer descent rate, a little bit more. 1,200 feet per minute. Things are looking good though so far. Weather in El Paso is 61 degrees and partly cloudy. As I mentioned, winds apparently are out of the west-southwest at 11 miles an hour. And given that we're landing on runway 4, that is, you know, a slight cause for concern, inasmuch as it means that the winds would be coming from behind us while we land. You'll notice I have our altitude selector at 4,400 feet, just above minimums of 4,320. ETC seems to have been cooperating if we were paying attention to it. You see over here telling us to descend and maintain 7,500. In terms of the actual approach, you'll see this is the RNAV approach into runway 4, and canter, K-A-N-T-R, you need to be at 7,500 according to the published approach plate, so that's why we've been cleared down to 7,500. Ekoji, I don't know how you pronounce it. Supposed to be at 6,600. Latin, 5,800. Holag, we're supposed to be at 4,580. There's 3 miles between Cantor and Ikogi or Ekoj. 3 miles between Ekoj and Latin. 3.3 miles between Latin and Holag, and 1.7 miles between Holag and the runway threshold. So again, about a 12-mile final, kind of what you expect. Continue slowing as we come in here within range of making that turn, that right turn. You see, in terms of terrain, there's not a lot to worry about. It's not particularly mountainous. I mean, it's high up at 4,000 feet, but it's manageable. It's not a situation where there's you know, a lot of ridge lines or canyons or anything like that. We'll cross over the border while we're on final approach, just past Latin and the Rio Grande. Yes, I think it is the Rio Grande. Am I right about that or am I wrong about that? Yes, the Rio Grande. I'm sorry, I've never been to El Paso. Okay, 24 miles out, 10,300 feet. Remember, at 20 miles out, you'd want to be at 6,000 feet. But you got to add the 4,000 feet. I mean, if you just assumed that we should be at 6,000 feet, 20 miles out, no matter what, then when your airport's at 4,000 feet, you're going to be skimming some treetops. So that's why you got to take into consideration, at least in the sim, you have to take into consideration that kind of stuff. Continue slowing. Getting ready to make that right turn to line us up for final. These higher altitude approaches, particularly at night, always give me a little bit of consternation. Not much out there on the left. That's just northern Mexico. There's the view for the passenger out the window. El Paso. Almost. Got to cross the border. But, excuse me, God dang it. Continue slowing. 18 miles and 8,600 feet. Shallow water descent rate even more. Hopefully, we succeed with our RNAV approach. You never do know. But fortunately, on a night like this, we have to do another Mazatlan style visual approach. We certainly can. 194 knots, 8,200 feet, 17 miles out. At 10 miles, you'd normally want to be at 3,000 feet, but with the altitude, we'd want to be at 7,000 feet. We're at 8,100 feet and 16 miles out, so we'll continue shallowing out that descent rate. I have had this issue before where we landed, or where we approached too low at high altitude airports because I didn't take into consideration the fact that the airport was actually at a higher elevation than at MSL. Here's a runway, and there's a runway. Which one's ours is anybody's guess. We'll find out here in a second when we make that right turn. Continue slowing. We'll do 1 notch of flaps right when we make that right turn at Canter, which is now. Set 180 and get our landing lights on. Okay, turn and final now, friends. Let's just reset this one last time just to make sure we're in the... There we go. So there's our runway. Not that. Not that one. That one. I'm seeing red and white on Vassi's right now. Continue slowing. Set 170. 10 miles out and 7,300 feet, so we'll shallow out a little bit more, although I saw red and white on the Vassi, so that's a good sign. Get ready to put our gear down. Still no reliable information. But remember, at a Kogi, we know we need to be at 6,600 feet, and we are 64 seconds from a Kogi, and we're at 7,200 feet. So we're perfect. Perfect in terms of our altitude. Look at that. That looks fantastic. That's worth a screenshot. Get rid of that arrow, damn it. Come on, stupid. Okay. 8 miles out, so we'll go ahead and do gear and... Oh my God, that looks amazing. Gear, watch this. And 1 more notch of flaps. Oh my goodness, that's so pretty. Love it, love it, love it. Still wish I had a little more. I mean, I wish we're not getting reliable. Do full flaps now. I'm not getting anything in terms of RNAV. So this might be one of those situations where RNAV never shows up. Do APPR and let's see if we get it. I'm not seeing any sign of it. Still seeing whites on the Vassi. Getting ready to cross over Holag. We want to be at 4580. We're at 5700 right now. It's all right. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off the disconnect the auto throttle. I want that glide path, but I don't think we're going to get it, so autopilot's disconnected. I have the airplane. Another hand-flown visual approach, but not quite as dramatic as yes. Ooh, we got a sink rate alert. Cool. And not quite as dramatic as yesterday's in Mazatlan, just because
1 mile final runway 04.
we didn't have to engage it until we were with, you know, whatever,
500.
1 mile final. Still seeing whites on the Vasi. Now I got a red. We have a 15 knot tailwind. That is less than ideal. So say a little prayer right now as we get ready to land. Red and white over the Vasi. We're good. Offset threshold. All right. God, that tailwind. All right, ended up pretty stable. Pretty stable. Okay. Whew, man. I hate landing with 15 knot tailwinds, especially when I only have to because the sim doesn't work. Okay. Anyway, these are first world problems. All right, well, stable configuration now, 40 knots and slowing. I have no idea where to go, and I don't know if ATC's working or not working in terms of getting us off this runway, but we're going to watch our PFD down there, that's screen on the left. See if I can get a place to turn. All right, I see a place to turn coming up here to the right. Yeah, we did end up getting arrows. Stop on the bars. Well, that was actually okay. That actually was okay. All right. Whew. Man, I tell you, my blood pressure on these flights. I really wish we'd been landing in the opposite direction, though. That much I can tell you. All right. So, you see here we are now. Safely off the runway. And let's go ahead and... can't see shit, so let's just go ahead and bring in the speed brakes. Bring in the flaps. And we'll go ahead and kill our landing lights, set on our taxi lights, turn off our pulse lights, and head to parking, and then we're all done with this nice, pleasant flight. Oh, one last thing. Let's stop that timer, shall we? 1 hour and 22 minutes. That's good. I figure between 75 and 90 minutes, depending on how the wind cooperated. Let's go ahead and park. Check into whatever hotel we're staying at here in El Paso. Yeah, you know, all things considered, 15 knot tailwind. You gotta be, you know, a little flexible. At least the arrows showed up. That's weird that they never showed up at Mazatlan. What is this guy doing? What is he, in a race? See this car? Go and depressurize the airplane. Welcome to El Paso. What is the local time in El Paso? I don't know. Are they mountain or are they... They got to be mountain, right? Hey, Siri. Hey, Siri. God, my phone's a piece of shit. Hey, Siri. Nope. I'll just do it by hand. Local time, El Paso. Try to stay on the taxiway. 6:29 p.m. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to El Paso. 6:29 local time. We landed in time for dinner. All right, look at the upside. All right, already. Okay, good. Here's our left turn coming up. Do a little tiny right turn just to aid us in that wide left. And then another right. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, they got us halfway across creation. Not a lot of air traffic down here in El Paso tonight. I don't know how popular El Paso is in terms of a flight sim destination, but... Well, I'm here. Holy mackerel, what a... I tell you, sometimes they just... It's like it takes more time to taxi to your parking space than to fly there. Ooh, we got a big left turn coming up. Brace yourself, friends. Here it comes. Just keep following. If you can't see anything outside your window, follow this. There we go. Got it under control, see? I've had longer taxis than this. I think the longest I had was 2.7 miles. Can you imagine? Almost 3 miles from where you land to park. Seems like a lot. I'm going to cross a runway here in a second, I think.
Approaching runway 08
Yep.
right.
Which I'm going to summarily cross unsafely.
Entered runway 08 right. 8,700 feet remaining.
Anybody coming? No. Ooh, it's a runway. I feel like taking off. We got a lot of runway in front of us. Anybody want to go for another ride? I'm doing 30 knots. That's speedy, although not completely unthinkable. The good news is we're headed to our parking spot. We have a right turn coming. Ooh, this is going to be sharp. Ooh, brakes. Okay, good. And then a left turn. I don't think we configured our... Oh, yeah, we did. We did bring in our speed brakes and our flaps, yes. Sorry, short-term memory loss happens with age. Okay. Almost there, friends. Thank you for bearing with us. GA parking. I wonder if we're going to get flashlights today. It's real spotty. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. All right. Just about a tenth of a mile away. Let's go turn right. See where we are there on that MFD screen down here. Okay, now, the only question is this can get real goofy as you get close to where they tell you to park. Like it can, you know, they want you doing ballerina pirouettes or whatever. And sometimes I think, fellas, this plane does not turn on a dime. All right, let's see if we get any flashlights. Let's pop up. Come on. Looks like we're going to go to the right. Oh, we do have flashlights. Good. Is he going to do anything with those flashlights or just hold them up? Okay, I'm with you, pal. Shit. Nice. Okay, I'll take that, all things considered. Let's get that parking brake set. Okay, kill that left engine. Excuse me, the right engine. Right engine's done. All right, everybody. Go outside real quick and just say goodnight. We can't see anything. Although the airport looks pretty. All right. Enough is enough, right? Get our lights off. Pitot heat off. And we already did air pressure. Okay. And we'll switch to the logbook screen here, presumably. Yep. And it's listing it as 1 hour, 19 minutes, 37-second flight. So it's about 70 minutes from Mazatlan up to El Paso, Texas. 32 minutes, 40 seconds were at night. 46 minutes, 57 seconds were in day, technically. Did qualify as a night landing. Good. Happy to see that. And that's it. Welcome to El Paso, everybody. Have a good one.